3, 2, 1.
Check it out.
We're back.
All right. Not sure what that was about, but we are back.
That's right. People are clapping. Let's give them the...
Okay. So we're back.
Is it on my page now?
Yes, it is. It is on your page now.
All right.
Ecamm was doing not Ecamm. What's the other thing we were on? StreamYard was doing such a great job. We were able to see the comments coming up, but for some reason, womp, womp, womp. Just going to have to figure it out for another time. But anyway, for those that are of you that are joining us, we had a little technical difficulty happening, but it is what it is. We rolling with it. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. We're going to roll with it and just keep going. All right. What up, Naomi? I already see you in the comments, sis. Let's go ahead and give her. Yes. What
Chelsea.
up, Chelsea?
What up, Chelsea?
That's so interesting. I think I see Chelsea on here, but she's not on my. She's not on your page. She's on my page. So I think that's what's happening with the comment section. It's kind of confused. Like, who do I talk to?
Me and Naomi was watching on my page, and her comments came up.
Yeah, it is what it is. Hope all is well. Happy Saturday. Happy Sabbath for those of us who are Sabbath keepers. It's so cool. This week we learned again, right? Every now and again, we have people, we're meeting people coming up to us, or in conversation, people are like, yo, I watch your show. So we learned this week that someone that is not of the faith watches our show. So that's so cool.
Yeah, that's what's up. So we just say happy Friday to everybody. If you're rocking with us tonight, or if you're rocking with us on some other day of the week, you probably catch us on the podcast, whatever it is. But we here, we had technical difficulties, but we back. I think we lost a few viewers.
It's all right. They're going to come back. They're going to come back. They're going to come back if they really want to come back, but no sweat. How was your week this week?
It was great. You know, family's in town, doing a lot of things that I weren't able to do, like we don't do normally. We probably ate everything that we could eat in Texas, but that was good. So I was feeling that.
That was really good. I think I need to definitely have a like a salad week where all I do is just do salads.
Salads on salads.
Because Lord mercy.
Yeah. Shout out to Toya Bennett.
What up, Toya? So good to have you guys join us this evening, tonight. Actually, it's nighttime.
Really wrinkled like that?
I think it's just you.
I think it's wrinkled.
I mean, either way, it's all good.
We keep it natural here.
Actually, that's my water that you're about to drink.
No, it's not. My water's over here.
I promise you, this is my water. So, really quickly, I don't know if anyone else does this, but I do not let Jamie or the girl, I do not drink after people. Yep. I think it's gross.
I'm glad that I am people to you.
You're not people, just people, but it's a hard no to drink after, especially the girls, because I feel like when I drink after them, I am drinking their backwash, and that just makes my stomach churn the more I think about them doing it. I feel the same for you too. Yes. Like, even though you're an adult, just because the it's touching your lips, and I'm just unsure about all of that.
Yep, because I am people. Hey, Jordan Houston. No, thank you. Jordan Houston is here. Oh, and then shout out to Andy's Custard Ice Cream.
Okay. I didn't know Andy's was in where you guys are. I want to know
Did we
your whole
introduce
government.
them to that?
No, they introduced us to it actually.
Facts on facts. Shout
Yeah,
out.
I didn't know anything about Andy's custard ice cream, but we recently got one closer to us where we live. So we've been back like once before. So that was cool. Enjoying that. What up, Sister Hunt?
Sister Hunt is in the building.
What's up, Jamal Alexander?
You said Jamal or Gamal?
Gamal, I'm sorry,
Gamal.
not Jamal. My bad. Gamal, Pastor Alexander.
Me and
Let's do that.
Naomi.
What up, Caroline?
I'm having fun with this horns right now.
I'm sure you are. I feel like it really takes away something because I can't hear it. And
Yeah.
I can put on my whack little headphones, but it's not the same. You know what I
don't
mean?
want to put on your whack little headphones.
I don't. What up, Diana?
Diana, we give you the horn.
Shots.
Yeah, we need shots.
Well, we're talking about not like the gunshots. We're talking about what we feel when we have Jesus in our hearts.
That's true. What are you laughing at?
I'm laughing at nothing. Okay, so
You just had a moment.
I
just
did
now.
have a moment. I did just have a moment. But anyway, you ready? I know we kind of feel kind of off, right? It kind of threw
with
us
the
off.
whole eCam thing. I mean, not with the eCam, with the StreamYard. We are trying to find a platform. I felt like StreamYard was catching both of the comments.
Right.
I think it was catching it.
But it's not catching it right now. But it's okay.
It's all
we got to
good.
keep going.
You got your phone open. We got the computer open, but we got to keep going. So, how was your week?
My week was amazing. Anytime there are people that you just vibe with, anytime there are people that we just kind of have this kind of thing, this vibe, this whatever, it's good. It's good for my soul. So I had a great week just vibing with our family here in Texas. They leave tomorrow. But just really nice having them here and doing all the things. So that was really cool.
Shout out to family.
Shout out to the fam bam. We gonna miss y'all. But anyway, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
Let's dig into it.
So I don't want to say y'all, excuse me.
Texas.
Me.
That's that Texas
Because I've been
accent.
eating everything in Texas. I feel like I need to talk like a Texan. That's a hard no. I'm going to speak like Carlene, right? Which is I'm not a Texan. But anyway, all of you know, I'm about to say y'all know, all of you know that we've been doing a series talking about picking up the pieces, specifically focusing on childhood trauma and how it affects relationships. Specifically, we talked about how it affected our relationship when we were courting to even in marriage. And now that we have children, how does that even affect us, right? How we parent. How do those traumas that we had, how do those things inform how we respond, how we talk to each other, all the things, right? So we talked about last episode was great. And it was great because we really took a really nice dive into what a working marriage looks like. Right. How, in marriage, especially when you have traumas, childhood traumas, or just trauma in general, how it affects and how what does working through all of those things look like. Jaime shared, I think, in the last part about, we talked about the piece of, what is it called? Feeling abandonment and what else?
Rejection.
Right. And how the conversation kind of took a turn where he just shared that it was not only fearing rejection from me or abandonment from me, but it was also from his family, right? Especially when we were dating and going through all those things. So we kind of talked through that. And so today's episode, it is going to be the last. We feel like we can keep going forever and ever, but it is going to be the last, essentially, in this 3-part series talking about picking up the pieces. How does childhood trauma affect? And today we're going to talk about solutions. What do we do? When? How? So we're going to talk through those things this tonight.
Yeah. You
What
ready?
up, Adriana?
What up, Adriana?
Kim? All right.
Yeah. We'll get them. We'll get to them. They want to hear the content.
Yes.
They want to hear the content.
Yes.
So where do you want to start off?
Whew.
So we're talking about solutions now, right? So
Solutions.
we're going into a conversation about what are some practices that we have in our marriage that we are working on and working towards, right? And so from understanding, as you said, like what you mentioned about trauma in childhood and how that affects decision making, that affects interaction, it affects intimacy, it can affect so many different things. And I think like we are, what are we, year 15?
Year 15.
Year 15 into our marriage, and it feels like we're getting a hang on it now. I feel like we always had a hang on it. We always had mutual respect for each other, but I don't think I understood you like I understand you now. And I think vice versa. And this wasn't something that we sat down in counseling and we received. This is just trial and error
Right.
that we've been working through. So I think the first part, like that, I think for me personally, I had to learn how to listen to you and start with believing what you're saying, like not dismissing it, right? In a sense. So like that's what I think like I had to learn, and as we were growing together, is like, how do I listen? How do I trust? How do I believe what you're saying, and take it at value?
Okay. So you're saying that the first step, well, not the first step, one of the things that we did in order to get a better understanding of each other and how those traumas that we've experienced in childhood and how it shaped us, that one of the things that we did was believing what the other person was sharing or saying.
Yeah, because it's easy. I think it's easy to. I'm trying to think of like an example. Like it's easy to dismiss people, to be like, psh, whatever, you ain't go through that, or not take it seriously, right? And I think that it's important for people in relationships that they start from a place of trust and a place from hearing and listening and believe, especially particularly too, like if somebody's opening up to you, like if you're opening a vault that you kept locked up for a long time, it would be crazy for me to respond to you and be like, nah, I don't believe that. Right. So I think like it's so important to help your partner by believing them and what they're saying. Like with some of the stuff that you shared with me, to not dismiss it or to not minimize it, in a sense, to be like, okay, yeah, that's nice. You went through that. Other people went through it too. I went through it as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's, that's important. I know oftentimes when people go through trauma, that sometimes they don't feel like they are like people believe what it is that they say. Like it's like a deep fear of being disbelieved, right? It's almost like, these things happened, right? And so that fear of, it doesn't matter what that trauma was, right? That fear of not being believed. And I think one of the things that really has helped us before we even got to the belief piece was trusting each other, right? I think that's, in order for me to be able to believe you, I have to trust you, right? Have a level of trust I have to first trust you with the information that I'm sharing, right? And you have to trust me that the information that I'm sharing is exactly what it is that I'm feeling, and you're not trying to debunk, or you're trying not to like minimize it. You're really trying to get a full understanding of what these traumas were.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, because I think what's important, an important part of marriage is you feeling safe.
Yes. Woo.
Like,
Let's
and
start there.
I think that perhaps in some marriages, there's a possibility of not opening up because you just don't feel safe to the person you're married to. You may love the person, but I think that place of safeness with us was something that was developed over time. I think we always loved each other. We always trusted each other. But there were always, or let me speak for myself, there were certain things that I didn't tell you. I think, one, because I didn't know how to tell you.
Yeah.
And then number two, even if when I found out, if I knew how to tell you, how safe do I feel with telling you that? Because of the fear of how you might look at me.
Yeah.
Right?
Even in marriage, right?
Right.
You still have those moments where you're just like, if I share this thing, right, are you going to look at me differently? Are you going to feel differently about me? And it's crazy because you think that when you're married, that you feel safe, that when you're married, that there's trust there. When you're married, that you do, that your partner is always going to look at you like you are this, I don't know, like perfect being of sorts.
Right.
That's who they fell in love with. Of course, I'm exaggerating a bit, but the point of the matter is that when you're marrying the person, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have a full, like you feel safe fully.
Right.
Or like there are moments where it's like you feel safe, but it's still that hesitation of if I share this or if I share that. Perfect example. Do you remember the episode of Different World? And when Whitley and Dwayne got married, and what did she do? Like the first morning, she woke up, and what did she do?
She put on makeup.
She didn't put on makeup. She ran inside the bathroom. She brushed her teeth. She kind of wanted to create this, like, when I wake up in the morning, I wake up fresh. Everything is fresh. My breath is fresh. My hair is fresh. Like, I woke up this way, right? She was kind of the epiphany of, this is how I woke. Like, I woke up this way. So, even in marriage, like, there's just so many different levels and so many different steps, right, that you have to take to build that foundation of feeling safe, of being trusted, and being and when your spouse shares something with you, that you believe them.
Right. That something I was gonna say, but I totally forgot it. But that safety is so. Oh, this is what I was gonna say is that, that feeling, that sense of feeling safe. That security is so important for women and for men, because I think that the fear of sharing something, because the fear of sharing something that may cause you to look at me differently is there, even because you still want to be the person that you married, right? It's almost like, if I share this with you, I'm afraid you might be thinking like, who the heck did I marry?
Yeah.
Right? Or like, not that I'm like I'm sure like I'm a serial killer or something crazy, but it's always that fear of how you're viewed. So, that importance of creating a safe space and establishing that to your partner, right? Like, I wish in our marital counseling, like, we were so progressed in understanding, just humanity and different things, that we were able to learn the tools to start the marriage, to say, hey, or even start the relationship, to say, this is a safe space.
Yeah.
That whatever you say here stays here and will not cause me to look at you any differently than who you are and who I'm marrying.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. In the comment section, do any one of you agree with essentially what we're saying as it relates to in marriage, when you get married, like, you're still very much like, okay, I know I know that I've been this person, but there's just so many more layers to me. So, that
I mean, when we first got married, there were certain things that you wouldn't do in front of me.
No. So can we? All right.
Because of what someone told you.
Right. I shouldn't do.
I shouldn't do.
So, for example, I guess we can go there. We can be real.
We can be real.
I remember being told, right, as a a girl, a woman, that never fart in front of your husband, boyfriend, whoever, right? Like, you gotta fart, you squeeze them butt cheeks together, and you do not fart in front of your spouse, right? Because why? It will kind of make it's unladylike, right? That's what I was told. Like, it's not ladylike to fart and to release gas in front of your boyfriend or significant other. And so guess what? I don't think I farted, right, in front of Jaime until we were married. And that joint was like, I can't hold this joint no more. No. Like,
you did it when we got married?
Yeah, it was when I remember when we were in our first apartment. Like, that joint was like, because I realized I couldn't hold that joint anymore. Like, how does a woman, like,
your eyes about to pop out?
It's like, yo, this joint is about to come out. Like, and so, like, just something as natural as that's what your body does, right? To release gas. And so something as simple as that, I didn't want to do it in front of him because I felt like he would think that I'm not ladylike. Like, it's gross, right? To have a woman farting. And so it goes to my point of saying, like, you know,
and that's because somebody told you that and you brought that in. So, you know, as complex as that is, there are even worse things that we've been told prior to getting married that we've gone into relationships into, and we've held on. And matter of fact, this is coming, some of the stuff that comes at us is from people who not even married.
True. That part.
Right? It's coming from people who have not even been in a marriage for like 10, 15 years.
Right.
And they're giving you advice about what you should do. But, you know, it's just really going back to that safe space and building that. And that was a muscle, or that was something we are still developing, that we are still working through. And, you know, shame carries so much weight because of the shame that comes with some of the things with who we are. We rather wear the mask and just go on through life as is.
Like, we hide those parts of us. Toya said, so true. That safety and trust is so needed because it opens up a deeper level of intimacy. It definitely does do that. But yeah, so that has really helped us. Like, I think we we're kind of like, but I think we probably should start with what we started with. We just talked about creating a safe space, building trust, continuing to build trust. Because just because you say I do, trust doesn't just go out the window, right? It just doesn't say, oh, okay, all right, and it gets complacent. No, trust is something that is there's so many different levels to trust, and it just continues to build the stronger. And the more you communicate. So that's another thing that I think is important that helped me process my trauma was communicating, like talking, because a safe space was created, because a trust was there. I can feel comfortable communicating and saying exactly what's on my heart without judgment or without feeling like, dang, why did I just say that? Did I say the right thing? Did I whatever, and just kind of keep spiraling into maybe I shouldn't have said anything, but understand that this is my safe space. And because this is my safe space, I can feel comfortable communicating essentially whatever is on my heart to him, because I know that he has my best interest at heart.
Yeah. Building a firm foundation on trust. And trust is something that's earned. It's not, I mean, it's given, but it's earned. Right. And so I think like it was important for me to know that I can trust you, and that I can be vulnerable in front of you, and I can know that you're not going to look at me, you're not going to weaponize it.
Right.
Like
Ooh,
weaponize
that's
it
good.
against me.
That's good, because we've heard stories of both men and women weaponizing essentially what their spouse was going, what they were going through, what they've gone through in the past, and they kind of use it as a weapon, especially in arguments that are super heated. It's so interesting. I don't know if you remember this.
Do tell.
I don't know if you remember this, but you said something like, this is like the earlier years, like this was like us dating for probably about 2 weeks. And I remember daddy issues was heavy, right? Mm-hmm. It was even heavier than usual because I think at that point I was trying to make amends or trying to connect with him on a level. I won't say even deeper, just on a level. And I remember, like, I think we had our argument or something, and then you said something like, I'm maybe I'm just like your father or something like that. I don't know if you remember. Yeah, you said something like that.
I wasn't quoting Prince. Maybe I'm just like my father. Too,
I don't think that's what you were quoting.
I was probably singing
But
Prince.
I remember being so upset with you because I was just like, it was almost like you were weaponizing what my father, like what you knew about what my father was doing, right? But that was like the first and the very last time because I expressed to you like, yo, like of all the things for you to say that you're going to say that. So I think we learned earlier on in our relationship that weaponizing what it is that I'm sharing with you is a hard no. Like that's not what we're going to do at all. Mm-hmm. Not even a little bit.
Wow. That's crazy. I didn't know that said that. I said that.
You sure
Let me
did.
give myself a, oh my God.
You need to do that several times, but you were young and you did not know better.
Yeah.
Or you knew better, but you just chose not to do better.
I think if I'm thinking the reason why I would probably say something like that is because I'm deflecting or I'm not, that's my way of owning up to I've done something wrong, or maybe, I don't know, maybe I was trying to hurt you. Yeah, that's crazy.
It is. It was
crazy.
Very crazy.
Okay.
So, all right. So we talked through a lot. We talked through the fact that one of the solutions that we have created in our marriage was
believing the other partner,
person,
creating a safe space,
and just communicating.
Yeah, and communicate. I think this one is heavy though. This one I had to practice, and as being a pastor, this one was the most difficult one. Well, not most difficult, but it's a practice. Do not try to cure your partner. It's okay to not have the answers. It is okay to know not what to do, or sometimes not having something to say. Because I think, like, as a pastor, sometimes we feel like we have to be the one to fix everything.
Yeah.
We have to be the one to correct everything. And then there was a point, particularly too, when we first moved to Texas, where it dawned on me that this is above me.
Yep.
Like, I don't know what to do. I can't, and I felt help. And I think that's the issue. I think I wanted to be like the cure, the savior, the redeemer. And I hated feeling helpless. Right? I hated feeling like, I took these vows to protect you, to love you, to cherish you.
Yeah.
And to see you going through, particularly when, like, the issue of moving to New York and coming here to Texas and not having community and anxiety and all those different things, and just the drastic change that your life took, because my life didn't really change.
Right.
And how that impacted you. There are parts of me that, one, I feel like it's my fault. And then two, if it's my fault, I should be able to fix it. And so if I can't, so I'm like trying to figure out, but you can't, you have to know, like, there's some things that there are people trained professionally.
Yeah.
That can do that.
Yeah. And I think on the side of the person who is trying to be cured, I think two things. I think sometimes I felt like I was leaning into you, like, I need you to cure me, right? Too, right? Like, I was like, yo, I want you to fix this or help me fix this. And that shouldn't be your responsibility, right? I should not have put that responsibility on you solely, right? It should be something where we talk through, we walk through, but to a certain understanding that you are limited in that way where you can't cure me. Like I need to go to the doctor, right? I need to go to other places that can support me the way that I needed to be supported.
Right. And I think like for all those that are listening, some pastors are not trained counselors. What we can consult with, not, I don't even know if the word is consult. We can talk to you, but we are not trained counselors. Even though some people treat us like we are. Like I know I have no training in that area, no professional degree in that. And so that's important. But, but as a pastor, we walk around with this, or let me just say, I walked around with this idea that if there's anything that should be perfect and I should be able to fix, it should be my home, my house, and my wife. And so I had to learn can't cure your partner, vice versa. You don't have to be that. What I did learn or try to learn, or I'm learning, is how to listen.
Yeah, for me, I needed for Jaime to just sit there and listen. I don't want a solution. Sometimes I don't want the solution. I just want to just kind of get it all out. I process things in a very deep way. Like I sometimes find myself over processing. And so sometimes when I get it out of my head, it allows me to be able to just hear myself saying it out loud, and then definitely makes me feel better. Sitting and going and finding a therapist was also something that I needed to do in order to properly process emotions, properly process my feelings towards my childhood trauma. Like those people have been trained to help guide you in a healthy way, right? So that was important. Not only having you listen, but also saying, yo, because he's limited and because he's not my cure, I need to go to someone who I know that can help me cure, this trauma that I've experienced. And even how do I process it in a healthy way and not doing this thing of circling, right? And then I'm over here unhealthy, and that joint spreads, right? Unhealthy behaviors, it spreads, especially to those that we are in close contact with, our husbands, our friends, our family members. Like they're feeling the brunt of that trauma or those unprocessed trauma. And so it's important for everyone, for you to get right so that, you get right for you first, but you get right so that everyone else in your space can be good as well.
Can you talk a little bit briefly about what it was that made you, like, was there a catalyst or was there some moment or something that happened that made you go see a therapist, like to go seek out therapy?
Absolutely. I think when we kind of talked about it a few episodes. Well, I think it was like a year or 2 years ago when we were talking about my anxiety, me having anxiety. One of the reasons why I decided to go was because it literally felt like I was losing my mind, and it felt like this weight that was unbearable. And I understood in that point in time that even as a pastor, like you are limited, like it is not humanly possible for you to help me process what I needed to process in a healthy way, right? You're my husband. And I don't know how in those relationships, it's interesting. I would love to know like how those relationships work when you are married to a therapist, right? How does that work? Like, is it the same thing where you just like, yo, I'm putting on my therapist hat, right? Or now I'm putting on my wife hat or my husband hat. I don't know. But I just knew you were limited. But I also read that people that need therapy are people that have gone through traumas, right? Different trauma, childhood trauma, whether it's divorce or sexual, all those things, right? And so I just knew that this was definitely beyond, it was beyond you, it was beyond me, and it was beyond just me sitting in a closet and praying to God, asking him to fix me.
It was above you. Me and Naomi made an excellent point. She says the misconception of therapy is this: we go because something happened. We should go to learn how to manage and deal with life.
So I think the misconception, I think that's correct. But I think I got into the door because I felt that something was wrong with me or something happened as a result. Right. So that's what got me in the door. If I didn't, right. And so you said that we should go to learn how to manage and deal with life. That came as a result after. Right. I didn't think before. And that when I went, it wasn't a time where therapy was something that was like, it wasn't something that was glorified as it is now. It's like now everybody's like, yeah, therapy it's trending. Like it's what we do. We go to therapy. Yeah, we do this. Right. But when I went, it was very hard because it was like I legit felt like, I think it's what is the word I'm looking for? The stigma. Stereotype. It was like stereotype or it was like taboo. Yeah. Like if you go to therapy, you are legit crazy, right? Something is wrong with you, especially in our culture where the Black woman is the strong woman. And so if I go to ask for help, right, I'm looked on as weak. And so I'm not the one to want to look as weak. So I'm not going to, even though I know that it's going to be good for me, I'm just not going to go because I don't want to appear weak.
Yeah. And that's a pattern I would just say with Black people, is that we don't go to the doctor until something happens. We don't go to the dentist until something happens. We don't go to see, and the last person on the list that we go see is a therapist.
Yeah, I believe like before, not today.
Yeah, before, not today. And I would even argue that even sometimes in today that
not
that
as
might
much.
That might still be the case. That
Gotcha.
That
might. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that might still be the case. Like, when my tooth starts hurting, it's like that's when I'm like, all right, I got to go see the dentist, right?
Right.
And so I remember Dr. Knight when he was preaching, and he said something that was so powerful that's always stayed with me is that, we'll go to the doctor, to the gym to make sure that our bodies are healthy, but how often do we go to the therapist to make sure our minds are healthy?
Right.
And I know that when I talk to some of my white friends, when I talk to, let's just say my white friends, they say, last week I was with my therapist. And, for us, it's like there's almost like a shame that comes with saying I was with my therapist. But I agree with you. I think things are getting better now.
Yeah.
That it's more accepted and more needed within our communities and contexts.
Yeah, Chell says that Jordan said some therapists may apply some of those tools at home, but it's different being at home with your loved ones and being with your client. Okay, I can only imagine.
Yeah, me and Naomi said she said that she says I refuse to therapize my husband. He told me early in my marriage that he did not need a therapist. Yeah, I would be mad if you were therapizing me.
I think I don't know.
I like because now I'm gonna
I've been using that right. Every conversation is like, are you assessing me?
That's right. You assessing me right now, aren't you?
Yeah, that's true. I get that for sure.
Yeah.
But I think that to your point, that trying not to cure your partner is important, and learning to listen, learning to validate their feelings, showing that you are there for them, not only in word, but also like truly showing an interest that you really care deeply for this person, especially when they're going through this specific thing.
Yo.
And sometimes in marriage, when you're going through those moments, sometimes with emotions, you're not sure even what it is that you want your spouse to do. But having your spouse be patient enough to sit in the tension and be whatever it is that you want them to be at that time.
Yo, let me tell you, I think this is important too. It's being present, right? It's being there, but also being present to hear things that you don't want to hear. Like to not take it personally. And I know that's we're probably jumping ahead, but that I was just thinking about, when you're validating your feelings, when you're validating somebody's feelings and they're expressing things to you, sometimes you gotta be strong enough to listen to what they say they don't like about you. Or like listen to what they say that they're not feeling about you, right? And to not take it personally, but to look at it as something that we can work through together. That's difficult.
Yeah, that I think we're still working on that.
Yeah.
I think we're still very much working on. I think more you for me. I'm trying to think if it's at the same level.
I don't know. I know that there have been moments when you have said things to me that like cut deep. And I had to not take it personally, or I don't want to say not take it personally. I had to restrain myself from reacting the way that I wanted to. Because I know that this is a moment of you releasing.
That's
and
good.
Me being able to be present, to validate your feelings, and to let you know that this is a safe enough space for you to say what you need to say. As long as you're not saying it in a malicious way to try to tear me down, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Right? I think I know there's been moments when I've had said things to you that
Oh yeah, you right.
Yeah.
I'm about to say, I think it's more like, I don't think I felt that, but the more you're talking, I'm like, wait a minute,
Right.
I have felt that.
Yeah, like there can be things that can be triggering, but
Yeah.
you have to be, the love has to I guess be so great that you can be able to know that in spite of that,
Yeah.
there is still love and we're committed to each other. Like
Yeah.
that being being present for that. That's not an easy task. That takes a lot of growth.
Yeah. Yeah. It does take a lot of growth. It does. It does. And I think it goes right back to the communication piece, right? Feeling comfortable enough to say, what you just said to me, what I heard was this, and this is how it made me feel, right? Being able to not shut down, because my response when that happens is I want to shut down. I want to shut him out. I don't want to talk to him. I don't want to look at him. Like go that way and I go this way, right? And then maybe that may happen at the very first time, like the first few moments. And then after, as I'm processing and I'm really trying to understand, okay, what is this? Like, is this about me? Is it like, what is it that I'm feeling? Why is it that I'm feeling this way? Trying to identify why I'm triggered, or trying to identify why I'm feeling the way that I'm feeling, so I can check myself first. So I can be like, yo, check yourself, get it together. Or sometimes I'd be like, yeah, I am checking myself, and myself is saying that you're not right for saying that, right?
Yeah.
But being able to have that moment where you can process through those emotions, because I know that when that joint is hot, and when that joint is hot, that joint hits you hot.
Yeah.
Listen, you ready to like
When it hits you hot. Okay, when it hits
I'm sorry.
I don't even got a sound effect for that.
I'm
When
sorry.
it hits you hot. But yeah, because like, you say something, your natural reaction is to go into defense.
Absolutely, because it feels like you're attacking me.
Yeah, your natural
Literally.
reaction is to be like, yo, I'm going in defense mode and I'm going to prove to you why you wrong. And then that just opens up the door for a whole lot more trouble. But what you said is so important. And that's something I think we don't do often, but we're still working through it. Like, I heard you say this.
Yeah.
And so that's just me. And that's just a way of showing that you're listening to the person by repeating what they said. And then also the next part is, what are your wants?
Right. Like, so let's talk about that. So Jaime, I'm gonna give you credit because you definitely introduced that into our communication health, being healthy in our communication. Like he inserted that into our marriage, and so that joint actually came as a result of. It was one of those moments where I was just like, I was just. I'm not gonna lie, like I was cutting and slicing and dicing and chopping it up, literally. But in that moment, that's where you were just like, yo, this is what I heard. What was the other thing you did?
This is what I heard you say. This is how it makes you feel. And what are your wants? Right.
So that takes practice processing that, because first of all, I'm like, what are my wants? You're supposed to know what my wants are, right? Why do I have to spell it out for you? You're supposed to know this, right? That automatic, like always on the defense, always feeling like I have to shoot first before you shoot, because it's just the way that I grew up, always on that defense, right? Always feeling like that. And so when you came with that first, I was very defensive. But, I believe I've gotten better.
Oh, yeah.
Where now it's a lot more like, okay, what do I want? You know what? I'm going to have to think about that a little bit more, because I want to be intentional about what exactly it is that I want as I'm processing these feelings and these emotions.
Right. And sometimes, like you said, sometimes you don't know what you want. Sometimes you want to be left alone. Sometimes, it's a process. And I think the art of communication,
it's no joke,
is a work in progress.
No joke.
Right? The art of marriage, if we can say that, the art of two worlds coming together, two different people raised in two different homes with two different styles of parenting and trying to make it work in this thing together. That is an art that needs to be constantly mastered and disciplined and worked on together. But I think as long as the most important thing for me is as long as we are leading with love.
Yeah.
Right? Like lead with love. Like lead with that. And you're not trying to be malicious to break me down, because there's that unhealthy communication where people would just habitually push buttons.
Yeah.
Right? Habitually push buttons, and that's not leading with love. You leading with contempt.
Yeah, you trying to take me out.
Right. You trying to make me catch a case.
Yeah. And that is a no, because honestly, in those situations, no one wins. Like you don't win, like no one wins. And then the environment is now toxic, and now you're unhappy. And then it creates this environment that you're not thriving in as a couple, or you can't, it's hard to live in that.
Yeah. Jay-Z said nobody wins when the family feuds.
Yeah. So that is something that is still a work in progress for us. We still very much struggle with that. I don't say struggle. It's just almost like we just constantly are refining, constantly trying to make it work.
Yeah. I compare it to like a muscle.
Right. Just exercising.
You got to keep exercising it to make it stronger.
So before we go, because our hour is coming to an end, which is crazy. But I want to talk through a little bit about how it affects our kids. So I know that
Theo's my best friend.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that.
Shout out to Theo.
Now that everyone knows that.
Let the whole world know.
Okay. So Theo, I think it was the first week that we did this series, he asked a question, and I'm looking for his questions. I should probably ask him to come downstairs and be like, yo, can you ask the question right now? But he would probably have several whatever. He'll probably look at me with a side eye, but I'm going to look for the question that he gave me. But essentially he asked, it was about our girls. Like, I think he asked something like, because I came from my parents divorced at the age of 11. Like, how does that work, or not work, but how does that, I don't know. I'm going to look for the question. So you go ahead and kind of talk through it as I try to figure it out, please.
All right. Talk through it. I don't know what to talk through.
Wait a minute.
I have no clue.
How do you not know how to talk through? I think I got it right now. Okay, so he says, I commend you both for your transparency with this heavy topic. One of our core goals as parents is to make sure our kids are better off than we were, and not just financially. Carlene, how does it feel seeing that your girls have what you did not have growing up? Amber and Katie have this relationship with their dad that you lost around the age of 11. So honestly, I am in awe every single time I see how Jaime and the girls interact. I just absolutely love it. And it sometimes I'm not, if I be to be honest, like sometimes I'd be like, man, I wish my dad was the same way. I wish I had the same relationship that they are building with their dad. I really wish that I had it with mine. So that's how I usually feel. But essentially, I'm overjoyed that they get to have a father like Jaime, because he is an amazing present dad that really goes above and beyond to ensure that they're safe, to ensure that they are very knowledgeable about all the things in order to be, don't do that.
I'm just saying,
in order for them to really thrive in this world. So kudos to him as a Black father raising Black girls. And so, yeah, that's how I feel with regard to that. As it relates to like Jaime, as it relates to our kids, if we can kind of talk through that really quickly. Coming from spaces that are where I didn't have the best example of the dad. I didn't have an example of a dad in my life. And so really prioritizing and really every moment I get to really show how amazing their dad is. Like that is important for me. To, you know, like even always like they'll say something, whatever, be like, Daddy always this. And I'll be like, well, I'll explain it to them. Be like, well, this is what happens, or this is why, you know, like explaining those things so that they don't feel the abandonment or feel whatever it is that they're feeling. And also talking to Jaime and be like, yo, this is how the girls are feeling about this particular thing. And he'll be like, yo, bet. And he goes and talks to them and process it through with them.
Yeah. I think, you know, as you're talking, I think my goal is just to be the best father that I can be to them. And then also to be the best husband I can be to you. So we always say, like, you know, when we have kids, we try to give them what we didn't have. And I think for me, there's a part of me that wants to give them the father that you didn't have. And to also be the husband that, not that you need, but the husband that's there for you. So I work extra hard at making sure that I try my best to put you all first. I work extra hard at trying to make you all as happy as possible and to just be present, right? So, you know, like, and I'm not saying like I got it down packed or whatever, but It's just I understand what I read from Andy Stanley, one of my favorite authors, and from my favorite preachers. And what he was just saying was that the things that your family needs or the things that your family desires are all free, right? Your time, your love, your sacrifice. Like you don't have. That doesn't require money. Like you can be the brokest person in the world, but as long as you are present, actively present in the lives of those people that love you, I think that's way more valuable than any material object.
I agree.
So like, you know, and he talks about, you know, like working, just say you're working all these hours, da 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 da, because you're trying to provide so that they can have all these things. But the problem is, you may be doing that, but your family doesn't see that. They can't see that in your schedule, right? They can't see that. So what they see is you was always gone. You preaching here, you preaching there, you doing this, you doing that. So I think like, and that was something I had to learn as well, because I was still traveling. I think when Caitlin was just born, I went to the Dominican Republic or whatever, right? Some country.
Honduras.
To do missionary work. And that was stuff I did in the early years of our marriage and with our daughters. And I think you told me one time you tired of being a single parent.
Facts.
And so I was like, all
I
right.
ain't sign up for that.
I was like, enough said. I get the picture. So I'm good. I'm going to stay as stationary as possible.
I also think that ways that I try not to process my trauma on them. I think that's like really, I try to be as intentional about that. I try not to, Lord, I'm really trying. I'm not there. I'm not like, I can't say I have it all down packed, but I really try to make sure that they see positive models of a working marriage, a working parenting styles, or, like nothing is perfect. We don't try to create this like it's just a perfect family where everything is just, oh my gosh, amazing, right? But we are very honest, or we try to be as honest and open with them to create that space of where they feel safe enough to express and talk through whatever it is that they are feeling, even processing their, how can I say this? So because my father is not in my life, right? What does that mean for the girls, right? How does that work? What does that look like? And so that has been a little bit tricky to navigate, right? And so it's just kind of been a hands off in terms of, I think for me, I feel like I chose first, and then we talked about it. And that's just something that we've chosen where there is no relationship there with our girls and my father. And that's just a choice that we decided to make because of a very, very reasons. But it's almost like not painting a bad picture of that person, of my father, to them, but just letting them know, like, this is what happens, right? This is life. Some relationships, unfortunately, stay strong, and some unfortunately don't. And I don't know if they quite understand it. They probably don't, because they're just kids. But we try to keep it healthy, where it's not toxic, where like we're talking bad about him or anything like that. But we just kind of keep it like, this is the person that gave birth, that not gave birth to me, but this is the person that
is, part of the reason why you're here.
Why I'm here. Exactly. I like that. Part of the reason why I'm here, and just kind of keep it that way. I'm grateful for Jamie's dad, who they know very well, and they they really love him, and
Cookie man.
he's considered, he's been called
the
cookie man, because that's what he does. Like, he just brings them cookies all the time.
Cookies.
But that's their relationship, and I love to see it. It's just unfortunate that that just can't happen with my father and them, and I've pretty much resolved that in my mind, in my brain, and they're free to ask any questions they want, but that's where that is. But we're really trying to, I don't know, do the best that we can possibly do. in regards to just childhood traumas, and hopefully, trying not to create childhood traumas for them, or not too much. I already know that that's something that we can't avoid, right? Our children might be sitting on a couch talking about us. And I think Golda made mention of something like that when we were talking last week. But I don't think childhood trauma is something that can be avoided. I think creating spaces for them to be able to process it is what's important, not just, just leaving it to chance to just say, well, they'll just heal or they'll just get over it,
Right.
but just really creating an environment where we kind of talk through things that can really help us help them in the long run.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, I think, I agree with you that some traumas can't be avoided, whether it's at home, at school.
Yeah.
Some things that you're going to pick up some things because this is a cruel world at times. But what we can be intentional about is how to process it.
Yeah.
How to talk about it.
Yeah.
How to listen. And I think that's something that we're working with girls on, how they can validate each other's feelings, how they can know to say their wants, their desires, how it made them feel. And even I'm seeing some progress, but I still think we still have some work to do with that area, because it's something that, we're modeling and we're instilling in them, because we want them to grow up to be healthy contributors to our society, and to also be assertive about their feelings, and where they feel safe and what they don't feel safe doing. So this is a to be continued. This is a process that we're going to keep on going through, and please share with us anything that you got that that may be helpful, because we need each other and we need to do this for our children and for future generations.
Yes, we don't have all the answers either.
Facts.
We do not have all the answers, but this 3-part series was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I am excited and really happy that we were able to do this. And I've already, in my personal, me as Carlene, within myself, I've already found so much freedom and joy and liberation in sharing this experience. Getting the DMs and talking to some of you has also really been super beneficial in that, yes, it uncovered a lot, but it seems as though everyone is in the process of healing. And so I had a conversation with someone yesterday, maybe it was yesterday or the day before yesterday. And they shared, as a result of this conversation, what it has done for them and how they have been able to process their trauma and how it relates to them now. My brain was blown away. But, I think the more that we keep talking, I believe more healing can come. But just make sure that in your healing journey that you find the support, you find the resources that you need to process it in a healthy way, so that you can be better for you. In turn, everyone else can be better as a result of you being good. So this has been awesome. You guys have a wonderful night. We're going to be back next week. We're going to be sharing what our next topic will be during the week. So look out for that. I know you just put up. Go ahead and subscribe on YouTube and
on Spotify, comment. We also have conversations on Spotify. So if you listen to us on there, you can answer some of the questions, the polls. And then also we're on Apple as well. So you can go on Apple Podcast, and maybe on your way to wherever you're going tomorrow, you could listen to some of the old episodes or whatever episode you want to listen to. But it is what it is. We enjoy doing this. We're gonna be as consistent as possible.
We trying, y'all. We trying.
But we do need your feedback, because we want to know, maybe there's some things y'all want to hear about our opinions on. So if that's the case, hit us in the DMs. Hit us on the Instagram page at Carlene plus Jaime. And we look forward to hearing from you and rocking with y'all next week.
And I also just want to say thank you. Thank you for sharing this space with us. Thank you for liking the page and being a follower on there. Like, we really, truly appreciate the love and the support that you guys have been showing us, that you've been showering us with. I know that, when we're joking around and we're doing all that stuff, like there's more comments or there's more whatever interaction, but there's a time for everything. There's a season for every, not whatever the Bible says, but in Proverbs, what it says, there's a time for everything. So we just want to say thank you. Thank you so much for your love and thank you for your support. This is Carlene.
And this is Jaime.
Peace.
Peace.
3, 2, 1.